Too many buttons to push here. Hey, Rita. Hey, Bonnie. All right, we're ready to go. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the new media production studio designed by Audimute.com in Coldwater, Michigan. The lead stories are the FBI calls Face App a potential counterintelligence threat from Russia. Did you know there's new traffic cams that look down into your car? And Chinese companies want to shape global facial recognition. Tied to that, smartphone owners in China now have to send the Chinese government a facial scan. I want to welcome you to episode 1408 of the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, December 2nd. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You too can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Everyone, we're live everywhere I can be. Really, it's I think we're streaming to 7 different locations. Everything is holding at this point. And of course, we're hanging out on Facebook. For those of you that are on Facebook, make sure you say hello, but you can always check the show at geeknewscentral.com/live. And hey, if you're brand new to the show, we want to take your time to get over to geeknewscentral.com. And when you're over there, all you got to do is subscribe to the show. You'll find a link on the right-hand column of the website for Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn. Subscribe on Android, Stitcher by email, or an old school podcast RSS feed. Just grab that and get subscribed to the show. You can find the newsletter a little bit further down the page. Get subscribed to that. The newsletter contains everything I'm going to talk about during the show today. And that goes out to all of our listeners immediately following the show. So it's a good email reminder that there's a new podcast on the street and you have a historical record of everything that has been covered. Of course, you can listen to the show on blueberry.com. So definitely get over there and check the show out on blueberry.com. Or you can listen to your smart home device by saying the keyword to launch that device and say, play the podcast, Geek News Central. You can join our chat room. There's 3 different places to go. You can go to geeknews.chat. You can join our Slack channel. And of course, we've got a Discord channel that seems to be doing very well at this point. You can always contact me via email, geeknews@gmail.com, or on Twitter @geeknews. That's the way to stay connected with me. Definitely follow me on Facebook. That's an option as well. Of course, back on the website at geeknewscentral.com are all the partner shows, which includes the new media show that I'm co-hosted with myself and Mr. Rob Greenlee, the Pro Gear site at progear.guru, the Gadget Professor, the Podcast Legend Show, and of course, GNC Week in Review, which is done by Kirk Corliss, which is an executive producer of this show. So definitely check out all the podcasts available at geeknewscentral.com and all of our partners. But you can always pick up Ohana gear. This is a holdover from the time that was in Hawaii for the long period I was there. cafepress.com/Ohana store. This show is and has the longest running continuous sponsor of a podcast, and that's our good friends at GoDaddy.com. You too can pick up great savings at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. We want you to go there to save money. All the codes are available. All the promo codes are up and are available for you, whether it be 30% off a new product purchase, a 99cent.com, a newer transfer for new customers. Of course, we got a $1 a month economy hosting for the first year. $12 get you started with a free domain, or a $1 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year. Again, $12 get you running, includes a free domain, which is normally an $8.49 value. So check all these codes, all these promo codes, all these deals available at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You too can get a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. This is the best way to save money on launching a website. And I tell you, they've made it so very simple over there. I can't stress it enough of how simple they've made it to launch a website. From the time you finish your purchase to the time you can have a website set up with your own template, with some very basic header up and running, I'm telling you, maybe 15 minutes. They've made it really incredible simple to get a website up there. Then you just add the PowerPress podcasting plugin, set that up, and you can become a podcaster just as well. So definitely check this all out. Check all my deals out at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. They've really made it simple. And now they're even serving part of the media stuff that comes off of these shared hosting accounts with a CDN. So you get that added performance value. So, just check this out. And again, we appreciate your support here at Geek News Central. You'll always find larger savings here with monthly non-expiring offers. If you're part of the Ohana here, make sure that you share those promo codes with your family members, people that you know, friends. It's coming up time for Christmas. Don't know what to get someone? Get them a domain name. Set them up an account on GoDaddy. Talk to them, of course. Get them a domain name. Get them a website. This is a great opportunity to do something creative as we head into the end of the year and as we set our new year's resolutions heading into January. Get them set up online. Join the party. Get online with GoDaddy at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Okay, so hey, hello to Ross, Mike, Rita, Stormy. Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching on live. Thanks for being here. So, a little bit of an update, and not all of it is good. So, Monday show, I had been to the doctor, had all my blood work done, a whole bunch of stuff taken care of, and he called me Tuesday afternoon and proceeded to chew my butt. He says, your cholesterol's up, your sugar's up. And he changed my medications. He says, get back to the gym. He put the hammer on me. And I had explained to him during the visit with him, and when we were going through, and I had, I kind of was concerned. I could tell that, things were not completely where they need to be. And he said, at the time, it's just a conversation. And, he did admit, he says, well, you kind of knew something was up, but it's all this travel, not being able to, eat healthy. It's really taken a toll. So I've got to figure something out. Got to get back on the program. So, probably what it's going to end up being is I'm probably going to have a gym membership in Columbus, a gym membership here in Michigan. Just the way it works here and where I'm living, there's really not a gym that I can have a membership in both places. So, it's probably worth my health and not being, ready to stroke out to do that. And I got to figure something about the food too. Just the constant go and being in hotels, and it's paying a toll. So some of you travel ninjas out there, what are you doing? How are you finding, staying healthy, eating healthy, not having to ingest a lot of salt, all that stuff? But I got to figure something out here as we head into the end of the year. So I'll give you an ongoing update, and not going to go completely crazy, but definitely got to make some changes again. So, all this work that I did before has kind of went off the cliff. So it's time to get back up on the bandwagon here. So yes, on Thanksgiving I was feeling kind of guilty, but I still had a decent meal. Drank some wine. Friday mucked around. The kids went shopping. I basically took care of a bunch of stuff, and I flew home Friday afternoon. I got in Saturday, had dinner with the family here. Sunday, we did the new media show, a whole bunch of just work here in the studio, lots of stuff I had to do on Sunday. Today was a standard business day, lots of just meetings, emails, getting catch up for the 4-day weekend. And then tomorrow morning, drive to Columbus. And yes, Mike, hotels have gyms. Felix, how you doing? Thanks for joining the live show tonight. So drive to Columbus, be in the office there, and finish the week out in Columbus. So Thursday show on the road, audio only, but that's where we're at. And thanks everyone for being here. Got a good stack of stuff for you tonight. And don't forget, we're still running geeknews.chat. You can get over there and play around on that. And of course, the live site is still up and running, so you can get it live.geeknewscentral.com is always a place to go. But again, the Mastodon server's up, and of course, Discord as well. Discord is up and running with the Geek News Central Discord group. So we hope that you'll jump in there and participate and communicate. All right. So also, sticker exchange is still on. All you got to do is not even exchange. Send me a self-stamped addressed envelope, and I'll send you a little Geek News Central sticker package back. All right. So here's a heads up. So let's talk a little bit about this article on CNET about the FBI calling out FaceApp. Now, a lot of us had fun with FaceApp. I personally did not. And, but I know a lot of folks did, and they, submitted their pictures, and a lot of people found out later, and we talked about it on this show, that the app came from Russia. On a November 25th letter, Senator Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York, asked FBI Assistant Director, in a November 25th letter to Senator Chuck Schumer, FBI Assistant Director Jill Tyson said the agency was investigating FaceApp over its ties to Russia. And the app, of course, we know what it does. It takes a photo, adds effects, make you look older, or add a smile. But the FBI considers any mobile application or similar product developed in Russia, such as FaceApp, to be a potential counterintelligence threat. Now, based on the data the product collects, its privacy in terms of use, and the legal mechanism available to the government of Russia, in other words, Russia does what Russia wants to do, there's some concern. The FBI's answer came as a response to a letter that Senator Schumer sent July 17th when FaceApp was at its height of its popularity. Skeptics raised concerns that FaceApp, after looking closely at its terms of service and finding the privacy policy, allowed for the app's developers to get permanent rights to people's images as well as provide the data to advertisers. So the FBI, in a general sense here, said that any app or product developed in Russia, like FaceApp, is potential counterintelligence threat. Now, let me just say that and replace it with another country. Let's just think this came from China. They could have said, and they told me, any app or product developed in China, like FaceApp or WhatsApp or any of these apps out there, or WhatsApp, or I think that's what it's not WhatsApp, because I think Facebook owns that, as a potential counterintelligence threat. And we've been talking on this show for a long time about all this stuff that's going on in collection of data. It's already bad enough within our own borders, the collection of data that's being done in the counter. How many of you did any Google searches over the last couple of weeks and were presented Black Friday deals in some of your presentations when you went on some of the websites like Amazon? Did it know that you were shopping for a handbag or perfume or whatever else you may have snagged up during some of your early Christmas shopping in preparation for the holidays, or snapping up Black Friday deals? It's already bad enough within this country that they know what we're looking at. So let's think about everything that we're buying that's an internet-connected device today. It could be your dishwasher, your refrigerator, It could be a wide range of items that could be calling home to mama with who knows what. And you would think something as innocuous as a refrigerator would not necessarily contain a lot of information about you. But what it would show is potentially when people aren't at home, hours of, many hours of the day where the refrigerator door is not being opened, and all of a sudden the refrigerator door is being opened. Aha, this person is home. It builds up, you know, or if it all of a sudden it's 8 o'clock and they say, well, this person doesn't get home to 8. So what kind of a lifestyle do they have? It just goes on and on. What is potentially being collected from us by all these devices, apps, and so forth. I think we've got to a point here where we've jumped the shark and we can pretty much say that our privacy is completely shot. Our privacy is gone. There is no such thing really as privacy anymore. There's just, little areas where maybe they can't see everything, but they're getting to the point where they can pretty much see everything at this point. Now, moving on here, it's not just in our homes, it's on the street. There's a new traffic camera that can spot you using your phone while driving. It can see you using it if you've got it below the windshield. You know how we all do that little trick, right? We have the phone down so that the police can't see that you're using your phone. You've learned to keep it below the dashboard. But now in Australia, they're looking down in your car. And if you have your hand on your phone in Australia, you're going to be getting a ticket. So they're cracking down on drivers who use their cell phones while behind the wheel. The government of New South Wales is implementing a new AI-based camera system. The program plans to perform 135 million checks in New South Wales by 2023. And according to video from the New South Wales Transport Department, the cameras can work during the day or at night in any weather or any speed zone. To let drivers adjust, warning letters will be sent to those spotted using phones by the cameras for the first 3 months. And so it's going to cost you 344 Australian with 5 points on your license. And of course, you can lose your driver's license after you lose getting 13 points there. And during other periods, depending on when you're using your phone, the penalty could increase to 10 points. So when the program was tested last year, over 100,000 drivers illegally using the phone behind the were basically detected. And if you watch the video, it's pretty good. Now, how do you get caught here in the United States mostly now? Well, typically it's a police officer on a motorcycle or in a vehicle higher than you rolling up next to you. And I noticed this on the interstate here recently. A police officer was coming down the highway and I saw him coming up in the passing lane. And as he got to my car, he slowed up just a little bit. He was higher than me, just enough to look. And then he kept on going. And he did this on every car. Slowed down a little bit. He was looking for, number one, for seatbelt, and number two, looking for someone touching their phone. So we can all admit that using our phone behind the wheel is dangerous. But now the AI is going to get you, at least in Australia. It won't be long before this makes it to the United States. While I'm on the topic here, you guys, I get some complaints sometimes from me going after China. But if you look at what's going on in Hong Kong and everything, I think people have started to realize that, it's still a Chinese communist state. And human rights in China are, very, I guess for better words, maybe there are none. But now Chinese companies who have been doing all this facial recognition development for the Chinese government wants to help shape global facial recognition standards. And we can already hear people screaming. The human rights campaigners say the proposed standards are a threat to civil liberties. And even though many of us don't like it, facial recognition is now being used in many airports. But companies like ZTE, Donna, and China Telecom are proposing standards for facial recognition to the UN's International Telecommunication Union. They've led the way on this. Usually the standards are set by the ITU or technically in nature, but human rights campaigners say The proposals under discussion in this case are more like policy recommendations. The standards proposed include recommendations for use cases, suggesting facial recognition can be used by police, employers. Can you imagine? Think about that for a second. I'll give you a little case study here. I bought a Nest camera for my office in Columbus, more basically as a security camera, so that we would have, and it was in the public space in the office. The employees did not like the camera. They felt it was could be used by me to kind of spy on them. So they really were against the camera just being in a workspace alone. And we stopped using it just because it was making people uncomfortable. So when these standards proposed includes use policies for employers to monitor employees and for spotting specific targets in crowds, it should make people say, So what do you think about facial recognition in America? Facial recognition standards being set by the Chinese. Do you think this is good? What's your thoughts? Next up, if you go to China, if you work in China, you have to buy a smartphone in China. Smartphone owners in China will now have to send a facial scan to the government. So basically, they're going to say you buy a phone, they have to take they have to take a side like a mugshot of your profile, and they're sending that, registering that with your phone. So now think about this. Think about if you lived in China, God forbid, and you let a friend use your phone. You'd be scared to death on what they did with your phone because you're going to be responsible for anything that is said, done, acted upon, websites that have gone to, because they're now going to be, it's going to be completely registered to you. Your face is going to be on file. So it's, again, pretty scary stuff here if you really, really think about it. Hey, Dan, thanks for joining us tonight. Stormy again. So it goes on and on and on, right? What say you? geeknews@gmail.com is the place to send your comments tonight. Love to hear from you. Had some feedback that came in via email. Cover that at the end of the show. So hopefully I don't forget it. Next thing up is, lots of things happening on the International Space Station. They are busy up there. Spacewalkers today spliced in some new pumps to repair a $2 billion cosmic ray detector. So basically, they performed surgery on the alpha magnetic spectrometer. And this is the fourth spacewalk so far. It's a 350-pound pump. And they were down to one pump for circulation for cooling. And basically, they had to splice a bunch of pipes, and they actually had to go up there and do plumber's work today. And so anyway, they were out for about 6 hours and 50 minutes, and got the majority of the work done. They do have to go out sometime. Now, this is kind of funny. They got to go out and clean up their tools. Sometime in January, they got to go up and clean everything up. They weren't able to get everything, put back completely together and put their tools away. So I guess their tools are just, latched and dangling or whatever. But they got some cleanup work to do. And the hard part about this particular spacewalk is it was way out. It's far out on the platform as you can get. So anyway, good job done by the astronauts up there and getting this work done. And this has been a job that's been 4 years in work to prepare for and get knocked out. So exciting stuff, really, really is. And I'm always amazed at they're just standing out there on the end of the Canadian arm and just on a little platform working on stuff. It sometimes boggles my mind. And if you think about it, just step off. No, that's probably not a good idea. They're strapped up anyway. Another thing, too, is there's a Phantom vest that's going to be flying around the moon. And this is basically Phantom women dummies will make a trip around the moon in 2020. Each dummy, and it's not just a woman dummy, a man dummy and a women dummy. And I don't know how you genderize a dummy because this is what the article says. But during the Artemis 1 crewless NASA test mission, that is integral to plans to land the first women and next man on the moon by 2024. They're going to send on this mission as they send the Artemis 1 out to the moon, do a couple of orbits, whatever they're going to do. The dummies are going to be wearing something called a STEM rad vest, and the STEM rad vest is basically to help protect these Phantom dummies to determine how much radiation gets through. With, I guess, when one isn't wearing one and one is. And so this is basically a 50-pound, probably a lead vest that they're going to test. Now, this is not designed to go on any future missions, but they are doing some studies with this, so it is pretty cool what they have got considered, and they are mocking them up for for women's figures so that it will fit and contour to their bodies. So we'll see what happens here with this test. But anyway, just to see what NASA is up to and how they're spending their taxpayer dollars. As you may have heard today, and I actually caught a little bit of this, I heard that Facebook actually, after saying they weren't going to judge political ads, canceled 300 some ads, and I don't know from which party, but there's still controversy going on. And Mark Zuckerberg is still saying people should make their own judgment on political ads. He's defending the social network's policy on political advertising and continues to face criticism. So when I heard today that they had chopped 300 ads, I wondered, okay, if you're going to let us decide, then why are you canceling 300 ads? So, but a lot of people are upset about Zuckerberg and the social network's policy on this, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens here. But it appears that there has been some change potentially. But anyway, what say you? Should Facebook be messing with any of the political advertisement going on the website? Personally, I wish they would just ban it all, but hundreds and probably billions of dollars of advertising is going to happen between now and the presidential election, so can't miss out on that money, can they? All right, Amazon has a new artificial intelligence system going into doctors' offices. Now, what could really go wrong here? The Amazon AI generates medical records from patient-doctor conversation. Now, when you're having a conversation with your doctor, he doesn't write everything down. You provide input, he provides feedback, there's a back and forth dialogue, and usually something is determined on a course of action if there needs to be one. But apparently, this company, AI from Amazon, says its new software can understand medical jargon and automatically punctuate text. They believe its latest web services tool will help doctors spend more time with their patients. It's going to allow doctors to easily transcribe patient conversations and add those interactions to someone's medical record with the help of deep learning software. Additionally, doctors won't have to worry about calling out commas and periods. The software will take care of that automatically. They claim that the transcribed medical is very accurate, although Amazon has yet to publish a study. It shows just how well it works. Lastly, doctors can use the software in conjunction with the Comprehend Medical tool Amazon last year. They can read unstructured medical text and then pull information like dosages and symptoms from it. So I don't know if it's listening while we are having a discussion, but all this is supposed to be HIPAA compliant. Amazon is, you know, there's lots of privacy things going on here. When I hear about these big companies getting in the medical business, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. A lot of companies been in the medical business before, but when they're transcribing conversations, if this is my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe someone in the medical field that understands what this transcribe tool is doing, is this basically taking their notes, or is this really listening to the conversation? One has to wonder, right? Shouldn't be surprised. A record number of people use their phone to shop for Black Friday this year. 39% of shoppers use their smartphones this year versus 33% last year. And I will have to say I didn't buy anything on my smartphone. How many of you have been on Netflix? You started a movie. I started The Irishman the other night. I got about 45 minutes in, and I'm like, this is crap. And I bounced out. Well, now that movie is in a continued watching section, and I'm not going to go back and watch it. Well, apparently Netflix is going to have a new menu item that's going to allow us to remove movies from the continued watching queue. And they're going to start it out with the Android app first. And it's going to be tested there before it's rolled out throughout the rest of the platform. I usually don't watch Netflix on my desktop or on my laptop. I usually watch on a TV. So anyway, those of you that watch Netflix on your Android app, you're going to get this feature sooner than later. And you're going to have a couple of other features on there as well. Yeah, so that's a major thing. There's some other stuff in it as well. So link will be up in the show notes for you to check it out. NASA has discovered the shattered remains of India's doomed moon lander. So they know the final resting place of the Chandrayaan-2 Vikram lander that crashed to the moon in September. And boy, oh boy, did it ever. They've got an enhanced picture of the moon, and you can see where it augured in. Made a nice new little crater. Has a lot of ejected material around it. They got another image that basically shows the scattered remains of the lander. So definitely took a serious whack and made a hole on the moon that's already got plenty of holes in it. So they know where it's at. I got to show you these pictures for those of you that are watching tonight, and those of you that are listening. You're going to want to go check these out. They've got a pictorial of the 250th launch of an Ariane rocket. And you think about that, 250 launches is pretty doggone impressive. And some of these are going to make for new backdrops. And just some simply remarkable pictures that were captured by these photographers that they brought out to French Guyana. I think that's where they launched from. And so anyway, to document the 250th launch of an Ariane satellite, of course, they've got a tremendously good lift record. Next year, 2022, they're going to be responsible for which satellite are they going to put up? Oh, they're going to put the Webb Space Telescope up in 2021. So finally, we're getting to the point where the James Webb Space Telescope, boy, that's been a long time coming, hasn't it? That it will be launched and put into orbit by an Ariane, probably Ariane 5, not an Ariane 6. Okay. Dan says, I don't see any ads on Facebook. I run Unblock, Origin, and FB Purity and see no ads. Good for you. Marty says, no way for Amazon to be snooping on my conversation with my doc. No way. Again, Marty, I don't know if they're actually listening or if it's transcribing his notes. It just sounds super, super fishy to me. And I got a little thing about 5G here in a minute. Stormy's asking in chat. So what do you think of 5G? 5G is going to, again, it depends on the type of 5G that you're talking about. T-Mobile is, and actually I've got a story about it tonight. T-Mobile's turning on its 5G December 6th, but it's a hybrid 5G that's using some of the other frequencies that are not as affected by range, and it won't be as powerful as normal 5G is. But the problem we're going to see with 5G is that it's purely line of sight. And even in cities, it's like narrow corridors down streets, or maybe targeting a building if they're lucky. Again, it has to be direct line of sight because it's running at such a frequency that the range is very short. If you're so lucky enough to be in an area that has 5G, it's going to be tremendous. It's going to be really crazy speeds. But I'm just worried that the deployment of this is going to be underwhelming for most people because it's just, you're not going to see it. You're not going to see 5G in your neighborhood, not for a very, very long time. You're going to see more of this hybrid 5G that T-Mobile is launching. And there's an article about that in today's show notes, and I probably have a few more highlights when I get to the article. But top web browsers in 2019, whoa, Firefox continues to dive bomb. And Firefox share for November slumped to 8.2%, down half a percentage point. It was the 7th month in the last 12 which Firefox spilled share. The 5th where the loss amounted to half a point or more. So Chrome continues to be king of the hill. That's for sure. 67.2%. But did Chrome lost a little bit of its percentage, but not much. And of course, IE is up just a little bit at 12.8. That was between the two browsers, IE and IE Edge, again combined 12.8. So again, things continue to die bomb for Firefox. I've used Firefox, but not very rarely now. I'm largely on Chrome. Oftentimes when we send text messages to one another, you don't have to worry really typically about those messages going into the ether and being exposed, although we've had some recently that were delayed being delivered, that were being stored somewhere. But when you send a text message to a company, oftentimes that goes into a database system. It's not going to a phone as you would imagine. If you basically send a text to a company, it is just not practical for them to be handling a phone to responding to you. It's all computer based. So all that goes into a database. Well, another exposed database, some company called True Dialogue, which is an SMS solution provider for businesses, left millions of accounts, tens of millions of text messages unprotected on the web. The database was unlocked. They did get it locked, but there was lots of data in there. So, again, passwords, user accounts, you name it, whatever you're sharing with companies. This particular company, who was the handler of that data, failed badly. Again, T-Mobile, talked about it a little bit just a minute ago. They're launching their 600 megahertz 5G across the United States. But again, no one can use it to December 6th. And again, you have to have a certain type of phone. The Samsung and OnePlus phones will launch on Friday that will be able to use this 5G. So many of you don't even have phones that will work with 5G. So that will be, another thing that you'll see over time, where at some point you'll get a phone that has 5G in it, and maybe the neighborhood you're in will have it, but largely doubtful. But this is supposed to be a little bit faster for those of you that have T-Mobile and have the right type of device, be able to use starting December 6th. T-Mobile has said that in some instances, the speed will be the same as LTE. So this is an interesting article. We know that the president pulled out of the Paris Accord, basically the agreement on climate change. Apple, Google, and Microsoft have signed a letter backing the Paris Agreement. But one thing that is an exception is that neither Amazon nor Facebook has signed the pro-environment call as part of the agreement. Facebook says, "Oh, we've made strong, environmental commitments, but they aren't willing to sign that part of the Paris Agreement. So, of course, Jeff Bezos' absence on the Paris Agreement letter won't help matters at all. It's also notable that most U.S. carriers aren't counted among the supporters. Verizon has backed the Paris Agreement, but AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile are absent. The letter isn't binding, and it's basically isn't likely to persuade the president to make a change. But this is something that is being sent by these companies to the Oval Office in an attempt to try to get him to change his mind. YouTube has decided to ease restrictions on simulated violence on gaming content. So basically, they're going to be more permissive in allowing depictions of violence in video game content as long as it's not the sole focus of a video. So just be aware of that. I don't know, many of you are doing Twitch and doing YouTube streams, that type of thing, but it could be an issue. Apple has completed its $1 billion amputation of Intel's 5G smartphone modem biz out of its mobiles for good. So Intel has dumped that, and basically I'm glad Intel got rid of that piece. Intel at this point is going to only be putting 5G in laptops, which makes a lot of sense. Mobile chips in laptops. And then we know that Qualcomm is basically back in court in January. They're trying to reverse the judgment against them. So that battle continues because Qualcomm does not want to give up many of its licenses and have fair licensing practices. So we'll see where this battle continues. But, this is not affecting Apple at all because they signed a 5-year deal with Qualcomm after all their court wrangling that happens. So we'll see where the rest of this goes to. Anytime I hear companies like Twitter talking about privacy, I kind of giggle a little bit. But Twitter has introduced what they're calling a privacy center, and it's supposed to keep users informed. And its new privacy policies go into effect on January 1st. And if you want to go through and read those, I'll have that linked up in the show notes for you to check out. Most of us won't even review it. An old NASA orbiter is finding new life for the Artemis lunar landing project. Remember, we've had the NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter in orbit since mid-2009. It's been studying the moon. Originally, the mission was just the first of a suite of lunar missions designed to find places for humans to land on the moon, but that kind of went by the wayside, but it still can continue to collect data. So now, NASA is really interested in all the LRO data and is scouring the information, looking for the next landing site for 2024. So we'll see where that goes. So LRO mission is alive and very much well. How many of you are on Reddit very much? Reddit is an interesting platform in that you can upvote, downvote comments. It's a threaded conversation. Someone will start a topic and it's basically threaded, and the best responses rise to the top. And it can be a little crazy because sometimes people have agendas and drive down responses. But Twitter is testing a Reddit-like threaded conversation. So that would be kind of interesting here. And so basically, it's indentation. So you get to see where you are in the stack. I don't know if they're going to put in the voting up of comments or not. So but it has the ability to put conversations together. So I think that it could be valuable because oftentimes I get led on a path. I'll see a response and I'll go up and I'll have to track back to try to find and see what other people's responses are. It's a challenge a little bit in Twitter to do that. You need to be on a desktop and basically clicking through to find the information. So we'll see where they go with this. Facebook has a new data tool that lets you transfer your media to Google Photos. So from one bad spot to another. But you do have the ability now to bulk export your Facebook media to other platforms. And this is probably good. Many of you have put literally thousands of pictures on Facebook. They're kind of there. There's really kind of no place else for them to go. So again, this new feature is going to allow you to transfer your photos and videos to another online service. And again, they're starting with Google Photos, and it comes part of the data transfer project. And it's an agreement between Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and Twitter They make it super easy to transfer information between services. And so that's awesome. And the photo transfer tool will be available to users in Ireland first before rolling out worldwide in the first half of 2020. So we'll see. We'll see where this leads. But again, not in the United States yet. Those of you in Ireland get it first. Over on makeuseof.com. So lots of memes going on. One that seems to be hot right now is Hey Boomer. That one seems to be pretty much on fire. I've seen lots of different websites taking up the mantra. But 6 best websites to find new, trending, and weird memes. So if you're interested in memes, you can go to a variety of different websites to review those. And this list of meme finding sites are available in the show notes. At the same time, if you're still using Windows 7, the best free Windows 7 themes you might want to try. It's actually a Windows 10 theme for Windows 7. Yeah, I don't know how many people are selling Windows 7. But anyway, if you want to go back in time or move forward, you can do so. And there's other stuff here for Mac as well. The link will be up in the show notes. Final article for tonight before we get into the comment. Gillette is launching a Apollo Collection razor inspired by the first moon landing mission. So you can buy this special razor. And what's it going to cost? Does it say? It doesn't. Oh, it's really not going to be exactly like the razor used. Of course, probably none of us would want to actually use that razor, to be honest with you. But they're making a moonland theme. So I'll show you what it looks like. So, guys, if you want a Gillette razor that has a handle like the moon, you can pick one up. So, all right. Gillette, anything to do to sell razors. I know. And that's not a paid endorsement. All right, let me go over here and find the email that came in. So I got an email from a couple of them. Let's see here. I got an email from Brad. He said, hey, Todd, thanks for your podcast and sharing your expertise from your naval career. I heard about this new tech from a podcast. Shoe Scanner is a floor-mounted 3D imaging system. The device uses harmless millimeter wave imaging technologies to inspect footwear to determine if it's been altered or is being used to transport concealed items such as weapons, substance compounds, or electronic items. Also, he says TV shows we're watching. He says we're watching The Feed from Amazon Prime, set in the future where a Facebook-like program is accessed via an implanted tech, post-apocalyptic into the Badlands, Netflix, lots of specific effects, swordplay, kung fu fighting. Wish I could fly through the air like they do on this show. I tried watching The Feed. There was another one I kind of got tired of real quick, Brad, but I'll check out Into the Badlands. Thanks for the feedback. And then, what else? Got an email from Nancy. Nancy says, Todd, I'm a little behind in my podcast due to a car accident. Nancy, I hope you're better. Sorry to hear about the accident. She says, most of my listening is on my work commute, and I was out for almost 3 months. Wow. Anyway, just listened to the October 28th episode and decided to take a chance on Virgin Galactic. Today's share price was $7.38, but I figure it was worth speculating on. So did I, Nancy. So did I. So you are the sole listener of this show that opted to buy any Virgin Galactic. Congratulations. You and I will either make money together or lose money together. So congratulations, Nancy. And I hope you're better. Hector sent me an email. He said, hey, Todd, greetings from sunny Rincon, Puerto Rico. He says, how you doing, Hector? Thanks for listening. Hola as well. ¿Cómo está? He said, a couple episodes back, GNC podcast, you mentioned you were bored with current sci-fi. If you haven't seen this when you start today, just discover this, and I am so hooked. It's called The Expanse. Yes, I have seen The Expanse. I'm behind on seasons. I don't know. Is season 4 this year? I'll definitely check it out. But I did watch The Expanse. I did like that. Hector, thanks for the reminder. I'll go back and definitely pull that one back out. And finally, you guys remember Iridium? Iridium Communications? Well, they're hosting a live webcast, and they're going to be deorbiting their last Iridium satellite. It's going to happen on Thursday, December 5th at 12 p.m. Eastern. Webcast will begin approximately 10 minutes prior. It's going to be at www.iridium.com/webcast. So they're actually deorbiting. So they're cleaning up their junk. So a little bit of information. And I want to thank the friend that we have that works at Iridium that sent that over. He asked me not to say his name, but to make sure that I knew about this going on. So Brad, hope I didn't say it earlier. Brad, Nancy, Hector, and our anonymous listener, thanks for sending me that information. Again, you too can comment on today's show or prior show. Real simple. It's very, very simple. There's this cool thing, very, very cool thing called email. Each of you have it, geeknews@gmail.com. You know, you can text me as well. Some of our listeners text me now. Michael does quite a bit. And if you want to text me, you can do so at 808-741-4923. And just don't call me unless it's something business related. But you can text me. But geeknews@gmail.com is the best way to have your comments read on the air. Because if I have the phone over here by the microphone, it starts going, starts buzzing. So I don't do that. All right. So we're going to get out of here. Next show will be from the Columbus studio. And of course, I want to thank the AudioMute folks here. If you're interested in having sound paneling or sound conditioning done to your office, and remember, it's not for studios as well. And the cool thing about this audio paneling that they've created, this audio conditioning paneling they've created, is it's different textures. It can be printed with your logos, designs, artwork, you name it. It's really, really, really impressive. So, drop me a line or talk to Kevin at audiomute.com. Again, they're a partner here in helping us do our sound conditioning on the studio. And there is an absolutely incredible difference. And I'm going to be coming out with a video soon that's going to show the transformation of the entire studio and the steps we took and the sound design and everything that happened here. So anyway, that is where I'm at tonight with the show. And don't forget about my sponsor, GoDaddy. Share their codes with your friends, family members, people that you know. Consider it as a Christmas gift. Open up a new account, set up a hosting account, get going over there, and share my pages. I know many of you send me comments when you do use the codes. I do appreciate that as well. Again, if you ever run into any trouble at GoDaddy, definitely send me an email. Let me know. So what's going on here? All right. Computer just went crazy. Probably some CNET is the worst. CNET articles, their videos in their articles autoplay. It just drives me absolutely crazy. It really, really does. But all right, we'll see you next week from Columbus, or Thursday. It's next week. It is this week. But everyone, take care. Thanks for tuning in. Those of you that were on live, thanks for being with me tonight. And if you hadn't checked in, make sure you check in before you leave and at least say hello. Because I know we had people come in and out all night. And Marty and Stormy, thanks for staying for the whole time. And of course, the rest of the folks are online as well. But it's been my pleasure bringing the podcast to you tonight. Everyone, take care. We'll see you next time here on the Geek News Central podcast. Everyone, take care. Bye-bye.